Welcome everybody to this Sunday morning meditation time with the Dhamma Monastery here in California. We had been looking at different aspects of the elements over the past couple of weeks, if not longer. And it occurred to me that we've not sat together doing the breath meditation, the anapanasati meditation, in a while. But the breath is made of the air element. So there's a way that we can kind of like in the background bring in the insight and wisdom that we've gotten about elements. Obviously, we want meditation to be simple and intuitive. So we're not sitting down to meditation and composing an analytical Dhamma discourse in our minds during the meditation time. At the same time, some of the discursive wisdom can be a kind of a preliminary reflection, and then let it go. But it can create a opportunity for certain kinds of useful, helpful, beneficial perceptions to rise up during the meditation. So we know that the breath is an aspect of the air element, and the air element inside is whatever is moving, whatever is manifesting energy in the physical body, even the life force itself. And we know that that same quality of movement exists outside of our body. So the way the wind is blowing outside, the way all kinds of things in the world are moving about, going here, going there, moving about, going back and forth. And realizing that the airiness of the air element inside and that which is outside is the same thing, just the air element. So inside the same, outside the same, inside the same, outside the same. Aware that when the mind cognizes the breath, that all of the five aggregates are engaging. So you cognize the material aspect of the breath and the movement of the air element. And also, just at that moment, the feeling comes along. So you can be clearly aware of the feeling connected to breath. You can be clearly aware of the perceptions connected to breath. You can be aware of the mental formations connected to breath. That could be an image Or it could be something like a volitional formation, like if we intend to let the mind of awareness rest on the breath, just the same way the body is resting on the seat or the cushion. And if awareness, if the mind wants to stay aware of breath, then awareness can stay there and can have, for some amount of time, being present and aware, cognizing the body. And knowing that these aggregates, all the way up to cognizing itself, the knowing factor, all of these things are dependently origin. They're all liable to come into existence and to disappear. The air element outside can be just right, or it can be too strong. It can be like a hurricane or a tornado. A tremendous wind can blow, even causing destruction. And then on a different occasion, the air element outside can seem like it disappears altogether, in which there's no wind. I think there's a certain wind that goes all the time, that goes around and around in the ocean, one in the Pacific and one in the Atlantic, a constant air current which is circulating around the ocean, keeping it alive. So that's the air element. It can fail. It could stop. It could become still. And there would be no more current like that. So just the same way, the air element in us could be very strong, or it can be just right, or it can be more and more tranquil, or it can stop. Knowing this, we don't hold on to the air element. So let's sit for a meditation, coming to an upright and balanced posture, aware of the material body connected to the seat or the cushion, feeling the connection to the ground, and then feeling the uprightness of the posture, reaching up to the sky. Feeling the way the body is balanced. Setting the intention to be in the present moment, in the here and now, just giving awareness to the breath during this time as much as possible. And if any thoughts come up about things in the past or things in the future or things far away, just deciding in advance to not focus on those. Let those things stay in the background, keeping the breath and the present moment in the front. And taking a couple of long breaths to notice the sensation of breathing. And then just watching the breath. Letting awareness rest on the one part of the body where the breath is noticeable, whether it's around the opening of the nostrils or around the belly or someplace else. Keeping awareness connected to the breath all the way along, from the middle to the end. And letting the breath spread out and expand so that every moment of breath is in awareness from the beginning to the end. Not even room for anything else to come in and break up the awareness of the breath. Keeping the breath like it's right in front, filling up all the space for our awareness, filled up with breath. letting the breath awareness spread out from where it's very easy to see, including all the vibrations in the body, from where it's clear, letting it spread slowly, like from the nostrils, and feeling the entire throat, breathing in and out. The breath is gently expanding, filling and saturating the whole body until every part of the body is alive, shining with that breath energy. Power of the feeling connected to breath. How is it right now? Just enough energy to keep the breath in front, and then letting awareness and the mind and the body relax, settle, and just be with the breath, fully aware how it is to be watching this breath. If the mind wanders, go to the beginning, noticing the posture, taking a deep breath, aware of the breath where it's clear, and then keeping the breath in the front, but relaxing with the breath, keeping the breath in front, filling every atom of the body with breath, filling every moment of time with breath. letting the breaths become tranquil, and letting all the formations become tranquil, letting the feeling become more calm, letting the thoughts or the mind become more calm and more subtle, not even holding on to breath. to whatever extent the mind is able to be spacious, intuitive, natural, not caught up in tight kinds of thinking, but just observing the reality, how it is, how it comes up. To this extent, there is something that's so healing and beneficial to the mind and body. So any kind of agitation or worry or anything negative in our life can be very well released and can disappear during the short time that we're sitting in meditation. Um, Even that aspect of things disappearing, you might notice that as the body becomes more tranquil, maybe um, the thinking mind sort of stops. You might notice that uh, very strong, active perception of touching of sensations of the breath stops, and the breath just becomes a very simplified. You might even notice that the sensational part of the breath stops. Uh, so this shamatha practice, this tranquility practice, is helpful in uh, creating the uh, creating the opportunity for wisdom to arise. When we're not scared and not disturbed by any kind of dukkha, even if the air element outside turned into a tornado or a cyclone or a tremendously strong wind, or even if the uh, uh, physical body was uh, overly activated because of some emotion or something, so that the energetic quality inside the body became extremely activated. Once we're having come out from that space of tranquility, then we're not scared, not afraid, not needing to run away from whatever comes. And so then it's possible to see things clearly in the moment, see how things arise and disappear according to the conditions. Even to let go of things, to allow them to disappear. They say that the breath is able to disappear if it's practiced up to the level of jhana or fourth jhana, something like that. That then the perception of breath, the sensation of breath, the feeling of breath drops out, and the mind is able to remain in that stillness, not reaching out to get the next breath. You're going to need to know about this when you come to the end of your life, because you're going to come to the last breath. The breath is going to stop. And if you are grasping, gasping, reaching, and trying to keep the breath going, that's going to bring agitation into those precious last moments of your life. But if you know what stillness is, and you learned about letting go, then when it comes to the last breath, you can let it go and stop. And so that would be perhaps on even the highest level of letting go of clinging, letting go of craving, where one is no longer clinging and hanging on to the life force itself, but instead just being still, aware, watching, and able to allow life to stop when it stops, able to allow breath to stop when it stops, able to allow every part of this body mind to stop when it stops, without feeling any disturbance. I apologize for the bad sound earlier on. I hope you can hear me now. So this will be the time for sharing any comments or questions, a report about how this meditation was, a question about the practice or about the Dhamma, or if you would like to simply offer your blessing in kindness for the others who are here in this room. So whoever would like to speak can raise their hand and let me know. Okay, Chintana, and then Damon.
Good morning. Thank you for the wonderful meditation. I was trying to recall my biology, and that when we do have our last breath, what causes us to breathe? And we don't have a vacuum to make us breathe. And I believe it's a impulse, a nerve impulse, right? I think so. Upon that nerve impulse, it causes us to breathe in. So there's more to it than just the air. The last breath will go out and then the impulse doesn't. Yeah, so I'm kind of trying to figure the biology of it out while I speak, and it's coming out very garbled, but I was wondering what you knew about that part of it.
I'm not that familiar with the biology of the death process, although I have had the tremendous privilege of being in the company of several different people through their dying process. I have, in this lifetime, I've sat with 5 different deaths, being there with the person when they died. When my mother died, I was lying in the bed there by her side. And different deaths are different. Even if one is hooked up to a lot of equipment and somehow the doctors get permission to pull the plug or something like that, and nevertheless, the nature is still taking its course. Yeah, but there is this idea of a wish and a hope that one could possibly be conscious up to the last breath, and that's considered to be a wonderful blessing to be able to go out that way, with the mind being aware.
Have you experienced that with anyone where they were aware to the last breath?
Um, well, I'm not a mind reader, so I can't really say for sure. But my mother wanted to get up just before her last breath. She was trying to sit up. She had her condition caused breathing to be uncomfortable, and so she tried to get up, and then she sort of fell back, and the breath went out right there. So I think she, and even though like what was happening like at the nervous system, might look like it was restless, like she was clinging to life because she tried to get up. But I know absolutely for sure that my mom was not clinging to life, that she had solved all of her, whatever her spiritual concerns were very well solved. She'd settled everything with her loved ones. When the priest came to give the last um, ritual in Catholicism, she her answer was, "Well, if it will make you feel better, you can, but it's really not necessary." So, so she was, she was ready and she was conscious, and I don't. She wasn't aiming for nibbana. She was aiming for heaven, and so that's what I would have. That's my expectation for her. I'll call on Damon.
Thank you. My blessing, my prayer is that your mom is happily reborn in a higher realm. Sounds like she has a good chance of that. Um, I'm a little surprised the turn that this conversation has taken um, towards death, and I'm a little taken back, but I'm willing to sort of roll with it. Um, uh, I think what's implied here uh, is that something continues, that the last breath is not the last life, um, because otherwise there wouldn't be any point to trying to be conscious at the last breath, because you're going to be dead. It's lights out anyway. But I think what's implied here is that there's benefit. What you seem to be implying, and please confirm this, is that there's benefit to being conscious and tranquil at the end, because it gives one the best chance of being reborn in a higher realm.
Uh, Thank you. That's a really good question. I think the reason why the last breath came up in this conversation is that if one is, if the wisdom side of our practice is coming into the shamatha meditation with the breath meditation, then one becomes strongly aware of cessation, how when conditions cease, the phenomena ceases. And the second to the last line in the steps of the breath meditation is patinisagga, which is relinquishment. And so it's when it ceases, let it go and don't try to get another one. Uh, I, I do think that a fully enlightened arahant is able to, it, uh, be, it's said in the sutta, is able to be aware of the last breath. And the last, that's like the last moment of consciousness as well. And, it's like all the five khandhas are like, would be like coming together in that last breath. And then they would come apart when it's over. And right up until the end, if one is enlightened, there wouldn't be any preference or any inclination either towards continued existence or towards annihilation, but a state of neutrality. And I think I'm quite sure that it's also possible that a person who is not a fully enlightened arhat, but has some noble attainments, that last breath might be the moment when they wake up. And so they wish that, it's good to have a tranquil end of life in which one is aware up to the end. I think is in part because of this idea that that last moment might be the moment when when we really let it all go. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could say about if you could speak about the rebirth for those of us, most of us who will not be fully enlightened in this lifetime, then our best hopes. Many have said in Buddhist quarters that our best hope is that we will be reborn in a higher realm, and therefore it still is good to try to be as conscious and tranquil as possible during the last breath.
Uh, yes, there are a lot of things said about the last mind moment and how it could like determine what comes afterwards. It's said that it's can be very useful for somebody who's close to death, for them to recall their merits in order to put the mind into a positive state. Uh, I personally believe that even long before we die, having spent so many years or decades like sincerely making the effort in our practice, uh, that then uh, there's a time to uh, simply be mindful and to allow uh, nature to take its course. Uh, so, like when our awakening happens to whatever level it's going to happen, it's not because we reached out and grabbed it or got a hold of something. It's because of what we let go. And so it's that letting go which makes an opening, a space where the realization um, can happen. Uh, as far as having an aspiration for um, a rebirth in a higher realm, um, that there are lines in the sutras that say yes, if you practice this way, you would expect to be reborn in this realm unless you obtain the highest. So, and then it could go either way. So just like if somebody has a very strong practice, it could be like a metta a practice which is going towards the heaven, the Brahma realm, or they could be practicing on boundless consciousness, and they're going to that kind of a rebirth into those different corners of the cosmos, and having a long time in the living in the world of infinite consciousness, or the world of infinite space, or something like that, before the end. It this I think could depend on what talent we have, but certainly for sure, if there's anything, any negativity, to take care of it, because you could become incompetent and not able to take care of those things later on. So while you're able to take care of it, I'll call on Maureen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We don't see you, but we hear you.
This is a sort of practical thing. Um, when I have my eyes closed, I can see all sorts of colours and different colours, beautiful colours, and um, that's that's a sort of going along. Even though I'm focusing on my breathing, I'm seeing the colours, and they must be generated in my mind. Because I've got my eyes shut. I'm not seeing them as um, anything outside in that I normally see. They're just colours and shading into different colours and things like that. So what's going on then? And is that not a good thing? I mean, how do I, if it's not good, then how do I kind of let go of that and just only be really aware of the breath?
We think about each of the five senses being in a completely separate bucket from the other ones, but actually they're not necessarily completely separated. So I know that some people can experience the sound as experienced like as colors. Some of the greatest musicians have that quality, and while their musical compositions are written like based on color patterns that they experience together with the sounds, and I think it certainly can also happen that a feeling like the touch sensation of the touch of breath, could be experienced as color, or it could be that just because of whatever previous activity is happening with the seeing faculty, that those nerves are shooting off and generating colors. So the main thing is not to get excited about like sort of like tripping out and having a fun watching the colors or getting involved with watching colors. I think our teacher Mataji would compare that to a baby playing in the bathwater. Uh, and um, uh, if you're more on the side of samasati, it's allowable to just allow like different sensations or phenomena that are coming up, to just see them quickly as they come up without holding on to them. But if you're aiming for samadhi, for concentration, then one would be more like making a choice to keep the breath in front and to allow the other things to be at the side. So, like where I'm sitting now, like to this side of me, there's a window and a curtain, and outside. And if I had some kind of a learning disorder, it would be like difficult for me to concentrate on you, because I would like be distracted by other things in the field of vision or something like that. But I'm not distracted, because when I'm talking to you, perhaps I may be, putting you in front and not giving attention to the other things. They don't necessarily disappear completely, but they stay in the background. And then on a different occasion, they might disappear completely. And just notice the arising and cessation of the phenomena that happen during meditation. So that's my suggestion. Thank you. That's a really good question.
Thank you very much, Ayya.
Yeah. Okay. We're up to 10 o'clock. I'll call on Sid, and that will be the last question this morning.
Thank you so much. I have my camera off because the conversation has made me a bit emotional. So I might break up a little bit while I'm talking, but I just wanted to be open and honest about where I'm at. This tranquility meditation was pretty difficult for me. I can feel how much my mind needs a break and to let go, but I can't really seem to do it. I've been having fleeting states of calm and then states of strong, intense emotion, and they just come and go. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting me. And I've been trying to grasp at awareness when I get in these calm states, but then it takes me out of the calm state. And so it's been hard I've been kind of flipping between monitoring, being aware of the strong, intense emotional states, and then um, and then grasping at the awareness in the calm states.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering how I can continue with my practice and what techniques would be most useful.
Even though watching emotional states might seem like an inferior kind of meditation to being fully in samadhi, there's a lot to be gained from sitting with emotional states and watching them as they go through their different permutations, arising and disappearing. It could take a person might spend a long time being subject to emotional states and watching them. It could be like even more than a year, more than 2 years, more than 3 years of depending on one's life circumstances in which there's different emotional patterns that need to be worked with that call for our attention. So in that case, you must be mindful. You must, as much as you can, with a lot of compassion and with full awareness, to receive each experience as it comes along and to look at it clearly with compassion and kindness, to understand, like, okay, what's happening? What is this? And then you will definitely notice that they don't always stay the same. So you can notice that impermanence. The other two tips I would give about emotions are that even a strong, afflictive, or difficult kind of emotion doesn't continue at the same peak of intensity for a very long time. It is sort of, constantly shifting and moving. And so at the moments that are intense and difficult, if you can, like, just have enough strength to hang on to your cushion, be present, knowing what's happening. Just that knowing and not running away is tremendously beneficial. And then eventually one may learn how to help the more difficult stage to pass off, to pass through quickly. And then instead of like sitting on our chest for, many minutes at a time, they may seem to be much more fleeting and going by. The other tip that I would have is to have some more positive contemplation, like loving kindness or something like that, in which if you need a break, you could go to that to change the mood, change the subject, and to experience how the emotions might shift by turning to a different kind of contemplation for a little while, but then just come back to mindfulness and just patiently, compassionately watch it, see how it's happening.
Thank you so, so much. That is incredibly helpful.
Okay. Let's close for this morning by giving respect to the Triple Gem. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One. The teachings so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dhamma. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, I bow to the Sangha. Thank you, everyone, for your practice today.
Thank you, Ayya.
Thank you, Aya.